Marjorie Odom's water bill came in on a Tuesday, and she did what most people do. She glanced at the total, felt a small jolt, and set it on the counter to deal with later. $214. Her bill is usually $148. Nobody in her house took extra showers. Nobody filled a pool. Nothing changed. She called the water utility, and the woman on the phone asked her one question before anything else. "Do you have a toilet that runs?" Marjorie said no. She was wrong. Every toilet in her house was silent to the ear and hemorrhaging water to the sewer line, 24 hours a day, for 6 weeks. That is the part nobody tells you. A running toilet doesn't have to make a sound to be running. I want you to sit with that number for a second because it's not rare. The average toilet that's failing this way wastes somewhere between 90 and 200 gallons a day, and a badly worn one can go past 500. At a typical municipal rate, that lands you somewhere between $40 and $90 extra a month, and in cities with tiered pricing, where your rate per gallon climbs once you cross a threshold, it can push past $150. A plumber will come to your house, lift the tank lid, look inside for maybe 90 seconds, and hand you a bill for a house call plus parts that adds up to $140 to $220 depending on your city. The part they replace costs less than a candy bar at a gas station. I'm going to show you exactly what that part is, why it fails, and how to put in a new one yourself in about 15 minutes for around $4. But before I show you the exact fix, I need to tell you about a man named Gordon Pace. Gordon spent 42 years as a plumber in Dayton, Ohio, and for the last 18 of those years, he worked almost exclusively on warranty claims for a fixture manufacturer, the guy they sent out when a customer called in furious about a toilet that wouldn't stop running 3 months after installation. Gordon told me something that stuck with me. People think a toilet is simple because it's ugly. It's actually one of the most elegant pieces of hydraulic engineering in your house, and almost nobody has ever been taught how it works. He kept a small green notebook, most guys like him seem to, where he logged every service call, the make of the toilet, the part that failed, and how long it took. Over 18 years, one component showed up in his notes more than every other failure combined. Not the fill valve, not the tank bolts, the flapper. Here's where I want to be fair to the industry, because I think it matters. I don't think there's a memo somewhere that says, make the rubber worse. Nobody sat in a boardroom plotting to waste your water. What happened is more boring and, in some ways, more useful to understand. In 1994, the Energy Policy Act mandated that new toilets in the U.S. use 1.6 gallons per flush instead of the old 3.5 to 7 gallons. That's a real law, and it's a good one. It saved an enormous amount of water nationally. But it forced manufacturers to redesign the internal tank mechanism fast, on tight margins, to hit a price point retailers demanded. The flapper, the rubber or silicone flap that seals the bottom of the tank and lifts when you push the handle, went from a heavier grade component in older toilets to a thinner, cheaper part in a huge share of the toilets built afterward. Add to that the fact that municipal water is treated with chlorine and chloramine specifically to kill bacteria, and you have a rubber part sitting in a chemically aggressive bath every hour of every day, made from a compound that was optimized for manufacturing cost rather than chemical resistance. Rubber degrades under chlorine exposure through a process called oxidative chain scission. The chlorine attacks the polymer bonds in the rubber, and over 1 to 3 years, depending on your water's chlorine level, the flapper stops closing flat. It warps, just slightly. You will not see it with your eyes most of the time. But slightly is all it takes, because that seal only has to be off by a hair for water to seep past it, refill the tank, and trip the fill valve again. And again. All night. That's the mechanism. Now here's how you find out if you have it, without guessing. Buy a bottle of food coloring, the cheapest one at any grocery store, about $2, or if your hardware store sells them, a leak detection dye tablet, which is the same idea. Lift the tank lid off your toilet and set it somewhere safe. Add 10 to 15 drops of food coloring directly into the tank water, not the bowl. Do not flush. Walk away and do something else for 15 minutes. Come back and look in the bowl before you flush anything. If there is any color in that bowl water, even a faint tint, you have a leak past the flapper seal, and it is costing you money right now, whether or not you can hear it. Gordon used to say the sound is the last symptom to show up, not the first. Plenty of leaks are completely silent because the water is trickling, not rushing, and trickling doesn't vibrate the pipe the way a rushing leak does. Here is the fix, start to finish. First, locate the water shutoff valve. It's a small oval or round handle on the wall or floor behind the toilet, on the supply line. Turn it clockwise until it stops. Then flush the toilet to empty as much water from the tank as you can. Hold the handle down to drain it fully, and use a sponge or old towel to soak up whatever's left in the bottom because you'll need the tank dry to work. Second, look inside the tank and find the flapper. It's the rubber disc sitting at the bottom, over a hole called the flush valve seat, connected by a small chain up to the flush handle's lever arm. Some flappers snap onto 2 pegs on either side of the overflow tube in the center of the tank. Others have a ring that slides down over the overflow tube itself. Take a photo with your phone before you touch anything. That photo is your instruction manual for reassembly, and it removes all the guesswork. Third, unhook the chain from the flush lever and remove the old flapper from its pegs or slide it off the overflow tube. Take it with you to the hardware store or match it against the packaging, because there are 2 dominant sizes, 2 inches and 3 inches, and universal flappers are sold to fit either. A generic flapper runs about $3 to $6. If you want the version Gordon actually recommended after years of warranty calls, look for one made from EPDM rubber specifically, sometimes labeled chlorine resistant or long life on the package. It costs about $1 more than the basic version and is built from the exact rubber compound that resists the oxidative degradation I just described. That $1 is the whole trick. It's the difference between replacing this part once and replacing it every 14 months for the rest of the time you own the house. Fourth, and this is the step almost everyone skips, including some plumbers in a hurry. Before you install the new flapper, run your finger around the flush valve seat, the rim the old flapper was sealing against. If you feel grit, a rough edge, or a slimy mineral film, that's calcium and magnesium buildup from hard water, and it will make even a brand new flapper leak because it can't sit flat against a pitted surface. Wipe that seat clean with a rag dipped in plain white vinegar, and if there's stubborn buildup, a worn-out toothbrush works fine. This 30-second step is the difference between a fix that lasts 5 years and a fix that fails again in 5 weeks. Fifth, install the new flapper onto the same pegs or overflow tube the old one came off and reconnect the chain to the same hole in the lever arm, using your photo as reference. Here is the exact detail that matters. The chain should have a small amount of slack, about ½ an inch, roughly the width of a couple of stacked coins, when the flapper is resting closed. Too tight, and the chain holds the flapper open a crack permanently, which recreates the exact same running toilet problem you just fixed. Too loose, and the flapper won't lift high enough for a full flush. ½ an inch of slack, no more. Sixth, turn the water supply valve back on, slowly, and let the tank refill. While it's filling, check the fill valve, the taller mechanism usually on the left side of the tank, and confirm the water shuts off when it reaches a level about 1 inch below the top of the overflow tube. If the water is running higher than that, right up to the rim of the tube or spilling into it, the float needs adjusting. On a modern fill valve, that's usually a small clip or screw you turn to lower the water level. That excess water quietly running down the overflow tube is actually a second, completely separate way. Toilets waste water, and it's worth checking while you're already in there. Do the dye test again, exactly like before. 15 minutes, no flush. Check the bowl. Clean water means you're done. Now the honest limits, because I'd rather you know these than get frustrated. This fix solves the single most common cause of a running toilet, and in Gordon's 18 years of warranty data, flapper failure accounted for the clear majority of his calls. But it isn't the only cause. If your fill valve itself is old and making a constant faint hissing sound even with a good flapper installed, that valve, not the flapper, needs replacement, and that's a separate $8 to $15 part, still a homeowner-level job, just a different one. If the flush valve seat itself is cracked, not just dirty, no flapper will ever seal against it. And at that point, you're looking at replacing the whole flush valve assembly, which is more involved and, depending on your comfort level, might genuinely be worth a professional. And if you've got an older toilet with a rubber tank ball on a guide rod instead of a modern flapper, the part and the alignment process are different. Tell me your toilet's age in the comments and I'll walk you through that version specifically. I'm not going to pretend a $4 part fixes every leak in every toilet. I want you to be able to diagnose which category you're actually in, not just throw a flapper at the problem and hope. Let's put a real number on what you just did. If your toilet was leaking at even a moderate rate, say 150 gallons a day, which is common, that's 4,500 gallons a month. At a blended rate of a penny to 2 cents per gallon, once you count both the water charge and the sewer charge that most municipalities calculate off your water usage, that's $45 to $90 a month, every month, for as long as that flapper sat there degrading. Over a year, that's $540 to $1,080, from a part that costs $4 and a fix that takes 15 minutes. Marjorie's actual number, once she found and fixed hers, was $71 a month lower on her very next bill. That's the real trade here. It's not really about the toilet. It's about the difference between being a person who pays whatever the number on the bill says and being someone who understands what's actually happening inside their own house well enough to catch it. Most people go their entire lives never once looking inside their own toilet tank. It takes 15 minutes and a $2 bottle of food coloring to know for certain whether you're one of the thousands of households quietly funding a leak you can't even hear. If you made it this far, do something for the people watching this after you. Drop your city or utility provider and your last 2 water bills in the comments. The actual numbers. I want to build a real record here of what this is costing people in different places, because water pricing varies more than almost anyone realizes, and seeing your neighbor's number next to yours is usually what finally gets someone off the couch to go check their own tank. And if the dye test comes back clean and you're still hearing a phantom trickle at 2 a.m., stick around, because the fill valve version of this problem, the one that hisses instead of runs, is a different fix, and I'll walk you through it in the next video. That one's even cheaper.